Hello, my name is Ryan Arthur, and with me today are my father,
Hello.
mother,
Hello.
and my cousin.
Hello.
I'm here today to inform you and show you the benefits of renewable energy. So, have you ever wondered why researchers say switching to renewable energy is so important? First off, let me explain what renewable energy is. Renewable energy are forms of energy gathered through sustainable, renewable means such as water, wind, and solar, and which they can be reused and are, in theory, everlasting, unlike fossil fuels and coal, which have a limited number of sources and retainability. So, I will begin with explaining the environmental benefits of switching to renewable energy. Humans have had a negative impact on the environment and climate atmosphere by the repeated and considered overuse of fossil fuels and coal. Research says that by the year 2100, the temperatures on average will have risen from 1.8 to 4 degrees Celsius, thus overheating the atmosphere and raising water levels by 50 to 60 centimeters. But in the case of renewable energy, such things would not happen. In addition to climate problems, renewable energy also would be better for the environment, as it does not give off as many pollutants as fossil fuels do, and thus renewable energy is also a cleaner source of energy, as well as helpful to maintain Earth's atmosphere and climate. Now, there have been known concerns made about the switching to renewable energy from fossil fuels. The number one issue has been the cost. Researchers have found that compared to renewable energy at times, fossil fuels are cheaper and renewable energy is just too much money, especially since we're already ingrained in using fossil fuels. It's easier and cheaper for us to maintain that and keep using it, and the switch to renewable energy in many places would potentially be too high. But researchers have found that the time factor and the cost factor are not good enough to outweigh the benefits, as mentioned before. As mentioned before, by 2100, climate will be much worse off than it is now. But if we start the transition, we can prevent that from happening. And studies like Holzklepper, Fond, and Le Pen found in their French-German study that the price were gauged by companies in order to abuse the switch, and that the prices went up not because of market prices but because of their own personal greed. Now, other studies such as Denny and Weiss found that renewable energies varied in price, such as fossil fuels were $64 to $137 per megawatt, but renewable energies like wind were only 80. So therefore, the price depends on the area. Lastly, and another good reason, was the high sustainability rates. Renewable energy is found to be more favorable as people use them, they like them. Such as in the Malaysian study, they tried giving solar energy to certain areas, and after it was done, the people who used it said that they liked the renewable energy source over their previous fossil fuel source because it was cheaper and generated more energy. Yet they did admit that they couldn't sustain it at the time for cost reasons. Other researchers, as mentioned before, say that they like it because, as I mentioned, it's very highly sustainable, and we can continue using them as wind, water, and solar are long-lasting sources rather than fossil fuels. An Eastern Romanian study showed that the outputs gained from wind and solar energy far outweighed the fossil fuel equivalents at the time, and therefore they made a permanent switch as it was both cheaper and easier for them to obtain, as they had natural winds and large fields to obtain solar and wind energy from. So they found that wind energy was the most efficient and thus highly sustainable and far more useful to them. Thank you for listening.